So I'm gonna do anchor.
Okay.
Welcome. This is the premiere of CANiVISION podcast, Midwest Style. I'm your host, Chris Jackson, joined by
Tatiana Grant, your co-host.
Hey, and we're happy to be here. Happy to have everybody here. Been a long time coming. Shout out. We are at the beautiful Foundation Hotel, downtown Detroit.
Woo woo.
In the D. I'm from the Yak, but that's okay. We here though. I'm all right with it.
We are here.
And it's been a long time coming. We've been planning this for a while, and I'm happy we had a chance to finally get on. CANiVISION Media is a media company that is focused on bridging the gap between the streets and the boardroom in the areas of medical, lifestyle, business, the good, the bad, the ugly, you name it. And so happy to be able to really bring a narrative, because each state has its own narrative, and what I'm finding is that people overlook the Midwest as if we don't exist in this industry. And so happy to say we're here to stay, and we plan on bringing you all as much as we can pertaining to what goes on at a grassroots level in each state throughout the Midwest. So welcome to everybody, and we hope that you continue to be on this journey with us. For the opening show, we have a few things we want to talk about, man. We want to make it interesting. We want to make it engaging, hopefully. First things first, let's introduce who we are. So Tatiana, why don't you give us a feel for who you are, what you do, and then what's your relationship to the industry?
Got it. So I'm a native Detroiter, born, somewhat raised here in the area in Metro Detroit. I'm a marketer, publicist, event planner by trade. I've technically been classically trained working for organizations. I worked Super Bowl when Super Bowl was here in Detroit.
Hey.
The Taubman Company, they own malls all over the world. And then my last kind of job before I became an entrepreneur was working for the Palace Sports Entertainment back in the day when they owned the Pistons and the Shock. And so I then became an entrepreneur and have kind of built a non-cannabis business primarily focused on government as well as corporate nonprofit. And about a year and a half ago, I became intrigued in the cannabis industry because in 2018 I actually founded Detroit's first food delivery service.
Okay.
And so one of my mentors encouraged me to try to figure out how to quote unquote deliver weed. And so I started going down the path in the process of a secure transporter license. And I actually had an investor lined up. He actually owns the state's largest limousine transportation company. And when it came down to the numbers, it just wasn't making full sense, and I wasn't confident in being able to take that investment. So I was advised by a few friends of mine out in LA, of which one of them actually works at Ease, who kind of knows a thing or two about weed delivery. And they encouraged me to stay on the marketing side. So I did that. I pivoted the company, got my license, my event organizer license last December, and the rest is history.
The rest is history, as they say.
Yeah.
Long resume. She being a little humble. I guess we can get to some of the people she worked with later and some of the accounts that she has, but she's doing her thing. So
thank you.
Respect to you, sis. Cool. And I am part owner of Sticky Cannabis Operations. We own and operate 2 dispensaries currently, provisioning centers in Michigan. One in Ypsilanti, Michigan was our first location, just went wreck.
I went to Eastern.
Oh, hey, we right across the street. We need all them kids to come back to school. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sure.
And then one in Southwest Detroit.
That's where you from,
right? Yeah,
yes.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So Sticky Detroit, Sticky Ypsi will have the first location, fingers crossed, in Southfield.
Okay.
But we've been approved 12 Mile and Telegraph, so that should be lit.
That's super lit.
Yeah, and then working on getting vertically integrated as we speak, and some other projects too. Aside from that, I am on the NCIA board, National Cannabis Industry Association. Shout out, I'm first black male It's a dope thing and the worst thing in the world at the same time. You know what I mean?
I can imagine.
Given that we're in 2020, you know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
But we're fixing it. You know what I mean? And obviously we both work pretty closely with the state on some projects and some other things that we do too. So, so anyway, that's us. I want you to know who you're talking to, who you're chilling with. And so one of the segments we want to do is what's up with cannabis. Mm-hmm. We want to be able to focus on some relevant topics. This is being recorded prior to the election.
Yeah, just a few days.
Just a few days away. And so my first question for you, with regards to the election specifically, right?
Okay. Uh-huh.
And try to take away, and I don't know the answer to this for you, but try to take away your feelings maybe for one candidate versus another, whatever the case is. Mm-hmm. When it comes to cannabis specifically, what does it mean for cannabis if Biden wins, from your perspective? And then what does it mean for cannabis if Trump wins?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that's interesting because maybe I haven't done enough research.
Okay.
I don't know how either one of them take it. I know how Bernie feels about it.
Okay.
I know how Bernie feels, but I don't know how either administration or... Is it administration?
The administration.
Not administration. What their take is on it. I know that I attended an event last year, and there was a representative there from the president's cabinet who shared that he didn't think that the president personally had anything against cannabis, but I guess based on the way the Senate was and just like the way that politics rolls, he didn't think that the president could push things through the way that it would be needed. I would think that if elected, that the Biden administration would be looking to legalize, if it ended up being a slow and steady process, at least get the banking regulated, you know, some things of that sort. I think all in all, either one, it is going to be a gradual process. Okay. But I just don't know what the implications would be one over the other.
Okay, that's real. I've done a little more research.
Okay.
Just a little bit.
Enlighten me.
So let's talk about it.
Uh-huh.
Before I knew even who the Democratic candidate was going to be, you know, in my mind, within the next 4 years, you were going to see minimum decriminalization, probably legalization, right? The reason is you either have a lame duck president and Trump who, to your point, probably doesn't care one way or another, pro-business, generally speaking, right? Or you were going to have the Biden administration, Democratic Party, that was going to have to run on decriminalization no matter what. Right. Here we are, fast forward. Every time, you know, Kamala Harris or Biden has an opportunity to say it, they slide in there, we're going to decriminalize marijuana and cannabis, right? So I think that's coming either way. Part of it depends on, similar to Michigan's like makeup in the legislature. I think part of it depends on what happens in the Senate and whether or not that gets flipped blue or red as to how long it takes. But when Trump at a point where he on his way out of here, I think the conversation is just going to be like, I don't really care. Right. Let the states, it might even be some money in it for him, right? After the fact, if he's interested in doing it. And so, you know, I just wanted to know your perspective, but it's some interesting things coming up on a couple of state ballots. All right.
Like Michigan State?
Not Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Not Michigan.
United States.
United States, right? And I think what happens is some of these states are going to dictate kind of a domino effect. You know what I mean? Exactly right. So, for instance, Arizona's on the ballot for adult use. Okay. All right.
All those seniors, they need their
medicine.
They do.
That's how I feel. Right. So it was within like 67,000 votes or something like that. Okay. So it was really close 4 years ago. So my assumption is it'll get through.
You would think so.
As far as I know, the other states in Southwest United States, I don't know of any of them that's legalized it yet, right? Or at least adult use. Right. The one I think most people watching, New Jersey.
I heard about that.
New Jersey, because I think what happens in Jersey is going to dictate what happens in New York. It's going to dictate what happens in Pennsylvania. And so it's going to set the tone for what will likely be a top 3 market immediately.
Just based on density, I'm sure.
Based on density, right. And the amount of money on Wall Street. You know what I mean? So, so once they legalize,
they're going to be switching over drugs.
100%, right. From pharmaceutical drugs to some other stuff. Yeah, got it. Mississippi was interesting to me too, because Florida, I don't really count Florida as the deep South, even though it's there. But between Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, North Carolina, South Carolina, the Bible Belt, right? Like they not interested in none of this.
Oh, yeah.
It took them a minute just to get casinos.
Right.
Right? So so the fact that it's a ballot initiative in Mississippi for cannabis is saying something about like the culture, generally speaking.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I would think so.
So that's what's relevant. There's 2 initiatives on the ballot. One from the state, one from the citizens. So I don't know how that's gonna work out. I think that's the reason why it's not gonna work.
Okay, because the votes are gonna be split.
Exactly right.
Got it.
And then there's a no option, right? So, Montana. I have no idea. I've never been to Montana.
Me either.
So let's just say yes. Apparently, the industry framework comes with it, plus taxes for wildlife.
Oh, okay.
And parks. So I know they big into that.
Okay.
So that might be a reason why people say
greenery.
Exactly right, all in the same family.
Nature,
you feel me? Yeah, exactly.
One with nature. I got it.
That's what I'm saying. So yes for Montana, for Jersey. I don't know. South Dakota. They're pursuing both medical and recreational simultaneously. So because they're streamlining it, I'm gonna say yes. I don't know about Jersey.
Why?
I don't know. Part of me, there's a reason why New York hasn't done anything. You would think New York would do it first. I don't know if there's enough opposition from PA and New York to make sure it doesn't happen in a state like Jersey. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
I'm going to say by the end of all of this, New Jersey is on board. All right, you got me marked down. Follow me. So
yeah,
you got
we're gonna listen. We're gonna play the tape back.
We're gonna play you got any predictions, or you just gonna be like I'm neutral on all of it?
I'm gonna roll with you. However, I do think that the whole East Coast, Jersey, everybody is gonna be like a survival of the fittest when it's all said and done.
Okay,
because I mean, here a lot of the dispensaries and brands that we work with, they all tell us that like they get a ton of Ohio, Indiana, like all those border states that haven't legalized.
Right.
The other states that have, they just get that influx.
That's real.
So whoever
shout out to Toledo, we get a lot of them.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
So survival of the fittest, whoever's in is gonna make some money.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know.
Whatever happens.
Yeah. Get all you can.
It ain't the Midwest, so it ain't my jurisdiction. Huh?
Right.
I feel it. Yo, wanna say a shout out to our sponsors before we keep going.
For sure.
Sticky Cannabis Operations sponsored this episode. If you in Ipsy or in the surrounding area and/or Detroit, soon to be Southfield, come see us.
Absolutely.
Tell us more about Cultivate.
So Cultivate is a co-sponsor as well. Cultivate is in the process of trying to figure out how the hell to do events that people can actually come to during the pandemic. Basically the company will be producing online virtual cannabis events and hopefully in person, socially distanced at some point. Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna see how that happens.
Who we got to blame for that? The pandemic, obviously. But
yeah, the pandemic.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll leave it at that because you know we got relationships to maintain. So
for
cool.
sure.
All right. So and then the Foundation Hotel. If you're ever downtown Detroit, please stop by, say what's up. Got some dope. They have a dope restaurant, some really nice rooms, within walking distance from what is it called now? TCF. Something like that.
Center. TCF
Center. Right. Okay. My bad. TCF Center. We cool with y'all. Just couldn't remember the name. All right. So let's talk about. You already kind of alluded to your journey into cannabis, right? So so let me share, and just so that everybody knows, you know, we'll have guests, and the goal is going to be to really dive into their journey and their relationship into the cannabis industry, right? And what it means for them.
Yeah.
So, born and raised in the Yak, similar to Detroit.
Yeah.
Urban America said we're gonna throw people in jail, right, for possessing cannabis. Turn around a couple years later, now it's legalized. You know what I mean? I grew up around it though, right? Was the point of me saying that? And in growing up around it, it was interesting because I ended up going to like West Michigan for college, and more conservative out there, but they still smoked more than we did, right? On the east side of the state.
Yeah.
But never was there a worry. Like me and the other black kids, we not gonna even do it. We good, you know what I mean? And I wasn't really even smoking at the time anyway. But our counterparts, right, the white kids who I'm cool with on campus every day.
Yeah.
And we went to a small Christian D3 school, you know what I'm saying? And they still was doing it. Fast forward though, came back home in 2016 and decided to run for office. Public office. So ran for city council, lost by 40 votes.
Ooh.
That hurt. That one hurt.
That should hurt.
That one hurt. Yeah, my producer was as hurt as I was, you know what I'm saying? My man. And so, you know, ran for office, lost by 40 votes, decided to run for state representative right after that.
Okay. So you really trying to like
I tried.
Okay.
All right.
Past tense.
Past tense. I tried, right? And the thought process was common sense, a business guy, cares about the community, new generation, right? Let's bring all of that together.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Little young Obama. I got you.
Yes. So fast forward though, some guys supported me. I was a pro cannabis candidate, right?
Okay.
Shout out to the NCIA. I'm actually going to be on a panel talking about my experience in running for office as an entrepreneur in cannabis.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah. So anyway, so long story short though, I ended up losing. But one of the things before I lost, I said to the council, right, is if you don't be proactive about cannabis coming to Pontiac, they will force it down your throat. I said that on TV. You can run the tapes, everything, years ago.
Yeah.
Turns out there was an initiative that the people in Pontiac voted for.
Okay.
It was titled Jobs for Pontiac.
Okay.
Wasn't no jobs for Pontiac. Okay. But they got it passed by one vote. One vote.
The power of your vote.
Especially locally. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
One vote dictated whether or not we had that line of cannabis. And if that didn't happen, then Pontiac would never have it. You know what I'm saying?
Got it.
20 dispensaries. Now Pontiac is 50,000 people.
Yeah.
20 is way too many for a city the size of Pontiac.
I think so.
Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. So, unless you just like really like
you want that to be your city.
Unless you the weed city,
right?
Weed City, Michigan, basically at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, long story short, though, the point of me saying that is the group I'm with now basically supported me during that time.
Okay.
And was like, hey, you got a skill set that we like. Why don't you bring that skill set to the cannabis industry? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for me, and I think similar to you, and I want to know your thoughts as to why you're passionate about cannabis or the industry, right? For me, it wasn't so much, partaking in the smoking aspect of it, right? For me, it was more about, well, as an entrepreneur, like, I was too young for .com boom, you know what I'm saying? I missed cryptocurrency because I didn't think it was going to be a thing for me.
Right.
So this was generational wealth. It was a previously prohibition industry that we had access to. That people were openly saying we want to make it right for people who were negatively impacted.
Of
right?
course.
That's what was said.
Yeah.
We're working on that. Right?
Yes, correct.
So for me, it's economic empowerment for communities of color and criminal justice reform, because I grew up around people who went to jail over stupid shit like cannabis, right? Like, which is people's medicine now. You know what I mean? So that's where my passion for being a part of cannabis. And look, I'm not interested in hoarding no information. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody wants the information, I'm willing to give it to them, right? Because it's necessary. Like, the goal is to help more people of color be able to participate.
Right.
And if that's not your goal as a company or a corporation, at least be an ally and support the community that you end up being a part of. That's another conversation for a different podcast. Where does your passion for cannabis come from?
I actually have a very interesting path because, little known fact, in the 6th grade, I actually won the DARE speech competition to say no to drugs, okay? I still have the certificate, everything, okay?
So you were brainwashed early. As we all were.
I mean, Catholic school, like the whole 9, the everything, okay? And then, I feel like I was raised with alcoholism and abuse on like other types of drugs as well.
Okay.
So growing up, so very anti-drugs. And to your point, being raised in the suburbs, during my high school years, a lot of my classmates partook. They were doing that. They were doing E. They were doing shrooms, like everything. And I was the opposite. Like, I wasn't even drinking alcohol.
Look at you.
Like, yeah, I was that girl in high school.
Okay.
And so I would say, initially it definitely was the entrepreneurship side of the business. Just by the way it came to me.
Right.
One of my mentors was on the medical marijuana licensing board. You remember when it was a thing?
I remember it was a board.
And she's the one who encouraged me to do it.
Okay.
So once I started doing the research, I'm like, oh yeah, I totally need to do this. Like, it's ROI, the whole 9. And then I would say when I started going and digging deeper into it, because I had friends who had their cards and they were growing and things of that sort, but I was so busy in my corporate world, I wasn't really paying attention. I have a girlfriend who's had a dispensary out in Pecanning since 2018, I want to say.
That's how you say that city?
Pecanning.
Okay. It's Pecanning to me. I don't know. Near Bay City up there.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go. That place. So when I started learning about...
Well, shout her out, though. Shout out to Shannon and High Quality, man. Black-owned dispensary, man. She's dope.
That's my girl.
Yeah, my bad.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
And they have a grow as well that's coming online in Hazel Park.
Yep.
Next 2 months, I think. I don't know.
Cool.
But I would say when I started learning about the medicinal side, and I know you can't make any sort of health claims, but when I started really hearing and learning people's journeys and their paths on their medical kind of journeys, I really was like, oh, like this stuff really works and it's more than just getting high. So I would say the medical side. Rick, now that I'm a mother, I feel I'm on like a borderline path of like, how pro am I?
Right.
Like, am I gonna be okay with my kid smoking a J at like whatever age? I still don't know about that yet.
Well, that over alcohol, or maybe not.
That is true.
I mean, I don't know how you feel about it.
I don't know.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
I don't think I would let my kid do anything at a certain age.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I do. I'm also of the belief, though, that the best thing that we can do is introduce things to our kids in a way that's monitored, that's moderated, right?
Yeah.
Versus them going and trying it, which is what they're going to do anyway, without you, right? Some people get lucky and they have kids like you that
I was
decide to wait.
I was just so afraid of my dad, though.
Okay.
My dad, I love my daddy.
Okay.
But my daddy's crazy.
Understood.
And I was just so afraid of him. Like, I was afraid to do anything. Yeah, I wasn't going to try anything.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, short of being fearful of your life, right?
Yes,
like most
correct.
kids are probably going to try it at some point.
True.
You know what I mean?
True.
But again, I guess that's something that we can explore on another day. What I'll say is that I never imagined that the industry would evolve as rapidly.
Yeah, that's real.
Like on some like almost similar to how technology evolved as quickly as it did.
Very quickly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's gonna keep doing it.
Yeah.
And what I don't want to see happen is that people who deserve access to the industry don't get access to the industry.
Yeah.
And so we're obviously working on that as we speak.
On a lot of levels.
On a lot of levels.
Yes.
So shout out to Illinois. They have a fairly comprehensive social equity program.
Yep.
Right?
Seemingly
so, right. The verdict is still out. That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. In Michigan, we got some work to do.
We do.
Got some work. We're working on it, but you know, I'm glad for the states that decided that they were going to allow for a social equity program, because they could have said no.
True.
Well, actually, it was in the ballot initiative in Michigan, so I guess we didn't really have a choice, right?
Well, the voters did.
The voters said, yeah, right.
Yeah.
You're right. The voters had to say in that. And so I'm looking forward to having guests on to discuss more about not only that market, but shout out to the legacy market. You know what I mean? Some people like to call it illicit, but language matters. So we're gonna call it the legacy market. But shout out to the people who been doing this for a long time. You know what I mean? And suffering, right? And fearful for the life.
Cousins, brothers,
all of that.
uncle, the whole nine.
All of that. So we're gonna touch on that. During this podcast, we're going to touch on social equity, that vendors that I have relationships with, other dispensaries, to get their perspective, generally speaking, on the industry, because we want to tell everybody's story.
Yeah.
We got to have some folks in here to talk about the medical perspective, and what they believe is happening and where the industry is going. And I got some thoughts about that. I'm sure you do too. And then lifestyle, which is your thing.
That's my thing.
Right? Events and the people who are tied to the industry and what it means, right? Because I have a thought that branding is going to be the thing that's going to drive the U.S. market. And so when you get people like Lil Wayne, right, like Jigga,
right,
and others, right, from even other industries that decide that they're going to have their own strain, you slap similar to how whiskey. What 80%, 90% of the whiskey in the world maybe is made in Tennessee. It's about aged, right? How long it's aged, and then basically somebody comes in and says, "I want to put my white label on it," and that's your strain, right? Or that's your drink. So similarly, I think that's going to happen in cannabis here in the U.S. In other countries, and we'll do another episode about this, but in other countries, I think it might be another focus point. You know what I mean? But anyway, we want to make sure, everybody, that we talk about all of these things, man. No holds bar. We want to have real conversations and really find out people's perspective.
Right.
But what I will say, though, as we get ready to wrap up, is that I want to make sure we're giving away merch, man. Giving away something every episode.
You got goodies? That's what you said?
Yeah, I got some.
We got some goods.
Not that kind of goods, y'all. It's illegal. You feel me? But here, so let's do this one. Let's do one of the classic boys.
Okay.
Let me take our tape.
With your masking tape.
Yeah. We'll get it together.
We will.
So we want to give out today, man. It's gonna be a T-shirt.
This is a nice jersey blend. I love. Okay, so I really have a thing for jerseys.
Clearly, all right, cool.
Like
Tell me
sheets.
more. Okay. Keep going.
This is a nice jersey blend. It's a cotton blend. No, I'm just playing. But no, it's a nice.
This is my Vanna White, y'all. She dope.
Exactly.
So a sticky shirt, T-shirt. Let's do it on IG. This week. So go to our IG, CANiVISION Midwest. Find us on IG, follow us. Go to our YouTube channel, CANiVISION Midwest as well. Go to our IG, go to our YouTube, follow us. Leave a comment just to say what's up.
Or tag a friend.
Or tag a friend. We're here for it. And then we're gonna randomly choose a winner to get a shirt this time. It'll be hats next time, and we'll have some other stuff from some other companies. Hopefully everybody that we have on can bring something with them.
For sure.
we can shout out their company, and then we can make sure that they get a giveaway, right?
Yeah.
So stick your shirt. Go to IG CANiVISION Midwest, YouTube CANiVISION Midwest. Check us out. But what else you got to say? What you got going on? What else? What I miss for the premiere episode?
I'm thankful. I'm happy. I know, from talking to Rico and just knowing his story as well. Kind of what the vision is behind CANiVISION. Right. And I think,
see what you did there.
You see how I did that? And I just think that content is king. And so, just thankful for us to be able to have a space to kind of do this work. And I'm looking forward to the friends and the new friends that will be made, who will be asking to take part and support.
Word. Yeah. And shout out to everybody who is in the industry, wants to get into the industry. All of our fans, partners, whatever, follow, likes. I appreciate all of it. But we'll be in touch soon, and we'll see you at the next episode. Y'all have a good night.
Peace out.
I think it was dope. She makes me better than what I am on here, but I think no doubt. I think that it's important that we be able to control the narrative, man. It's important that we really tell all sides of the story, and that's really what CANiVISION is about, is grassroots, many voices, right? So what can we do to shed a light on everything that's happening, the good, the bad, the ugly, and I think it's a good start to what would be a successful podcast, man. It's the first one, you know what I mean? And even though me and Tati are friends, it's about chemistry, right? And you only gain chemistry through experience together, you know what I mean? And so right. I think that each episode is going to get better. I think that the guests we're going to have between the two of our Rolodexes is going to be some interesting people. It's one thing to have a conversation between she and I, but everybody becomes smarter when there's diversity at the table, man. So the more people that we can engage with and get perspective from, the smarter we'll be, the better content we can bring. So I'm just looking forward to the consistency of it.
Right.
CJ_with8 is my personal Instagram. What's yours?
Mine is Tatiana, a nice long name, TATIANA Grant, GRANT.
On all platforms?
Yes.
Yes. And then CANiVISION. You can find CANiVISION, the national, at CANiVISION. And then CANiVISION Midwest for IG and YouTube and Facebook for us.